Greetings and welcome to Terra Prime Live. My name is EeRocKK. I am an apprentice with TPLA. I am hosting tonight in for Master Anonymous. And tonight's show is going to be about the sound fonts that we have on our sabers. If you're crazy like me enough to duel with a saber with a soundboard in it, well, you can have your cake and eat it too. We'll talk about that throughout the show. Joining us on the panel tonight, we have Master EeRocKK. We have Jared. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Glad I could make it out for one of these.
Yeah, thank you so much again for being here. Jared does have to take off pretty soon, so we're going to get to him fairly quickly. And also joining us is my fellow apprentice, Count Arcanus from the UK. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, thanks. EeRocKK, yourself?
I'm doing well. I believe both of us are just getting over a cold, even though there's a big ocean in the way. 'Tis the season, I guess. Hope if you're watching this, I hope you're well. So tonight again, we are talking about sound fonts and the noises our sabers can make. Just a couple things before we begin. I'd just like to reiterate here that TPLA, we do not endorse anyone in particular. We don't have any preferences. If you deal with LED sabers, if you deal with plastic sabers, the extendo toy ones, doesn't matter. If it has to do with sabers, we like it. We do not judge. That is for the record. Okay, sorry, I digress. But that is a good digression, I guess. Don't you think, guys? Anyway, and another thing too, yeah, we will be talking about different manufacturers' sound fonts. We will be talking about sound fonts that are free and sound fonts that are available for sale. So again, at TPLA Prime, we do, have a strong affinity for open source and Creative Commons, which are the licenses we tend to use for ourselves. But if you do, we don't condone art theft either. So if you do come across a sound font that you do really like, they're $4, $5, $6 a pop, guys. I mean, go ahead and it's worth the money. Once you download it, it's yours. You can put it on all of your sabers if you want. You can use parts of it. We'll show you how to do that in the show, and yeah, it's up to you. But please support the artists in the community if they are asking for a little bit of remuneration. It's just it's the way to go. Okay, so we'll talk about sound fonts now, and we'll start off by giving you a few examples of sound fonts and different manufacturers out there. Unfortunately, we can't represent every manufacturer that does exist on the show, but we will do our best to give as many shout-outs as we can and show which each of us has. So, because Jared does have to go soon, we would be honored if you would talk about your lightsabers, Master EeRocKK.
Well, I'm honored to be able to talk about them. I just have a few here. We kind of discussed trying to get a variety of different boards and with different features and everything. First, I'm going to talk about one of my favorite hilts. I like all my hilts actually. It's pretty hard anymore, but this is a Jason Solo. It was made by MH, now Chewbacca, on FX Sabers forum, and apart from being a very, very nice hilt, the design's great. The soundboard in it is a Crystal Shard V1. Since it's a plector board, made by the same guy who does the Crystal Focus and the Petit Crouton and the Nano Biscotte. So this board was designed for some of the Smiths on FX Sabers forum because I guess they were dealing with a lot of people that were saying, I really like this custom build or that or whatever, but I don't really have the money for a full-on Crystal Focus, crazy build, that tends to run up the price. A more expensive board, you end up using more expensive parts and everything like that. Anyway, I digress. The point is, it's a simple sort of like run-of-the-mill board. It does sort of the bare bones. It's got, this one has one sound font. The upgrade, the Crystal Shard V2 now, it's a newer version. It does have 2 blade colors and 2 fonts, which is great. But this one is very, you know, not in a bad way, just in a sort of simplistic way where it has all the sounds you need, all the clashes, all the this and that, the potential for clash on clash, all that good stuff. Anyway, this has a stock sound font on it. I believe it's the Lightmeat font. This was on it when I got it. I actually just haven't gotten to change it. It's one of those things. I actually like the font a lot, so I don't know. Just haven't really gotten to change it yet. There are a few out there I'd like to try. Link has a Jason Solo font. Mad Cow has a Jaina Solo font, and they all sound great. I'd like to try all of them actually, but just haven't gotten around to it. But just to give you an example. So I'll put a blade in here just for the sake of. I need to play with the sensitivity. It's being a little screwy right now. Sorry about that. But it's going off. The swings are going off a lot. I don't know why. Anyway, it's pretty run-of-the-mill. The font itself, very sort of not a very deep hum or anything like that. Sort of very token Jedi sounds. Generally, sort of like more high-pitched, sort of a more energetic type hum, rather than some of the menacing sounds that they throw in there for Sith fonts. So that's, I don't know, that's one of the things. I do want to point out the ignition sound because for some reason I particularly like that. It reminds me of, it's the one used in Luke's Return of the Jedi lightsaber, and it's just got such a nice, crisp, energy to it that I really, that's the one sound that I tend to pick out for my favorite lightsabers, no matter what. Everything else is whatever, but. And you'll hear it on my other sabers too a little bit, but that's just my preference. I like that sound a lot. Anyway, moving on. I have here two Spark-equipped sabers. Now the Spark is a different board. It's a different producer, as a matter of fact. It's by NEC. So it goes along with the igniter. It's more basic board. It has two sound fonts and two colors potentially for it. The new Spark color has more, and that's a little more complicated, but I'm not even an expert on that, so I won't go into that. But I will talk about the ones that I do have, which have two colors, a blaster lockup sounds, and flash on clash. And those are kind of the defining features of it. Also, it has saber tracks, which is nice because you can put music on it and stuff. Again, I haven't gotten to actually tweak these sound fonts. I have two Spark-equipped sabers here. This is the Gladius. This is kind of it's just one of my favorite hills. It's excellent, and it's actually one of my fiance's favorite hills too. So, and this is the Prodigal Son. And this is sort of my baby because I'm a huge Luke Return of the Jedi fan. Our very own Lucian Kane made this for me, and it's just awesome. So I'll demonstrate just to show you the sound fonts on these. Saberforge has two sound fonts they use very typically on the hero level hilts. They have Father-Son, which is a Luke-themed sound font. So has those sounds, which makes it sort of like a Jedi light side type sound font. And then for the dark side ones, they use another one called 501st Commander, which is based on kind of Vader's, and it's neat. It's definitely a little more. You can hear it in the Gladius. I'll show that first to give you an idea. So
Saberforge dual phase.
That's when it boots up, and you ignite it. So this is Father-Son. It's very kind of calm and Jedi-like. I like that one. It's nice. I have. It's one of the reasons I haven't bothered changing it. If I got a font and I went, then I would swap it out. But honestly, I've had a couple good ones. So the other one, there's Father Son, and 501 Commander. So this is their sort of dark side font. If you get a red blade or something, they'll usually include this unless you specify something else. Now it's nice. It actually has kind of a deep hum to it. It's actually pretty cool. I don't know if it comes out well on the webcam, but it has that kind of very different hum to it. It's a little more menacing, a little more ominous. The sounds are just a little bit different. Anyway, that's that. That kind of gives you an idea of those two in their standard setups, I guess. I can't speak for all Saberforge setups. I don't know how they typically do it, but from what I've seen of most people's and of mine, those are your two light and dark side fonts specifically. You could probably ask for others, but what I find interesting, this is the last one. I'll shut up after this, but this is my prodigal son, as I mentioned. When I got this built, I asked Lucian to put the two colors as green and blue. Green, obviously, because it's Luke's Return of the Jedi, and blue because it was a reference to how his saber was originally supposed to be blue in the initial design of it. I mean, Jedi lightsabers were blue. That was just the way it was. And then they found that it didn't show up well against the Tatooine sky, blah, blah, blah. Along comes a green blade, and Star Wars has changed forever. But long story short, it's supposed to be a reference. So they're both, sort of very Jedi colors. It's a Jedi lightsaber. Either way, it's a reference to Luke in his, in his becoming a Jedi Knight. So I didn't really specify because, like I said, I'm not the pickiest when it comes to these things, but Lucian did put some awesome sound fonts on here. It's really just the Father, Son, and 501st, but he tweaked the 501st. Sometimes fonts have different sounds that you can substitute in they'll have a particular package, and if you have 12 sounds on this, that like fit on the saber, they'll have 20 sounds, because you can switch out, a few clashes here. Oh, I don't like this clash. I want this clash instead. Oh, I don't like this ignition sound. I'd rather have this. So a lot of times you get that. So it makes it very customizable, even with just one sound font, So I think that's cool. And in this case, it actually turned out really well because the father son is the same. But the 501 Commander the hum is just totally different, at least to my ears. Definitely not as ominous, definitely more middle of the road type, but different than the Father Son, which is good because I probably wouldn't want two of the same font on the Sparkle Flip Hill. But it's good because both of them are very Jedi sounding, which is a little bit subjective anyway. But they suit it. It's good. It fits the purpose that I had for this saber. And I guess if I had to say, in conclusion, that if I had to say something about, because I got to get going, sound fonts, they're definitely a personal expression type thing. They're a completely different person to person, as you'll see with EeRocKK and Arcanus. They have very different tastes, than I do and than each other does in terms of sounds and styles and all that. So that comes into play. And everybody tweaks their sound fonts to be a little different, and you know, puts a little different set of them on there. You know, you might, you know, the nice thing about the Spark is that you have two, so you can have a kind of duality. You can have a light side and dark side. You can have, you know, two dark sides that are slightly different. Maybe one that's a little more subtle, you know. And for, you know, I'm not even like a kind of a music dork, and I think it's really cool. So I mean, I'm sure, you know. I know EeRock is big into music, so I'm sure that's why he just, you know, loves tinkering with these sound fonts. So it is nice. That's one of the best things about these customizable fonts that, you know, we're lucky to have with our, you know, Saber community, is that you can just mix and match. I like this sound. I like that sound. I want this. You know, I want it to sound like, you know, anything you can imagine is pretty much possible. So that's about it. I don't know if you guys have anything else you'd like me to.
No, no, Jared, thanks. That was a very awesome display of. Sorry, I just love that Jason solo hill. That's just so awesome. Yeah, there it is.
I do love it. It's nice.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, there you go. I got my paper towel. Anybody out of there? Anyway, just for the drool, of course. This is a family show. Yeah. Right. Anyway, Jared, thank you so much again for joining us tonight too.
No problem.
So.
I'm happy to do it when I can. So I'll catch you guys later. Hopefully on the next TPLA.
Excellent. Take care. Have a good weekend. Okay. So next on.